Hey everyone and welcome back to another video. So the Gunslinger is out. As you can see, we've got our gun. I am now level 55 in Gunslinger as well. I spent the majority of the day just running on fumes to get this to 55. It didn't take that long to be honest, but here we are. Got all the skills and we're going to do a quick overview and look at what each ability does. Alright, so let's get into our skill overview. Now I am going to start with the passives here, and then we'll run down all the different active abilities that we get. So, first of all, we have Arcane Protection. This increases your magic defense by 5%, which is, you know, that's okay, I guess. We then have Rifle Mastery, which is our second passive, and this increases skill damage from Gunslinger skills by 15%. We then have Range Finder, which, when equipped with a rifle, the sweet spot of the Gunslinger attacks is increased by 3 meters, so you can shoot a bit fair with that one, and it does require you to have a gun, like a lot of the abilities in Gunslinger will. So, again, you can use bow with the skill set, it's just not very good. Then we have our fourth passive, Fight or Flight, and this grants +1 stack of adrenaline when using the room sweeper skill. Now, this is an important ability that we'll go over a little later. Our fifth passive is Cunning Maneuver. This increases your evasion by 3% and resets the cooldown of tactical roll if the caster suffers a direct attack while using the skill. So, this one's interesting, because the tactical roll is... I feel like it could be pretty good on low ping servers. Like, if your ping isn't bad, I feel like it could be a really good ability. But we'll get to that. And then finally, we have Bullet Rain, which grants an additional stack of adrenaline when using the Ceaseless Fire skill. Now, you might be wondering, what is adrenaline? So, for all of the abilities that you use in the Gunslinger skill set, you'll get a stack of adrenaline. Now, adrenaline can't be stacked if you're using steady shooting or Deadeye from the archery. But what's really good about adrenaline is, alongside the room sweeper skill, if you get 60 stacks, you then activate Showdown. Now, Showdown decreases the cooldown of Gunslinger skills by 60%. It increases your move speed by 30%. It gives you 3,500 defense pen, and it lasts for 20 seconds, and you can keep this up by using Room Sweeper over and over again. It does burn through mana really fast, but this is something you can do. And once again, you do need a gun to actually use these skills. So, let's actually look at our active abilities now. Now, bear in mind, I am using a standard Haram rifle, and my range skill is really bad because I'm melee. But we do quite a bit of damage regardless, so I'm going to start with Ceaseless Fire, which is your basic ability. It fires several bullets, dealing some range damage each time. So again, this is a ranged set. It is going to work with agility. And using a rifle with this allows you to hit up to 3 enemies, up to 3 times, but with a bow it's a single enemy. Now, our combos with this is people under the effect of Discord take 10% more damage, and people under the effect of Corrosion take 9% more damage, which is our second ability. But let me show this off now. Right, so here we are. This is our standard ability. It's okay. But then we have our second ability. We have our Corrosion. We then have Corrosive Barrage, which is what we combo with that first ability, and this fires bullets that deal 900 range damage and inflict corrosion. And equipping a rifle allows you to hit up to 8 enemies up to 3 times. The B buff can be triggered once per enemy hit. And then Corrosion decreases the target's physical and magic defense by 10%. It can stack 3 times. And it lasts for 17 seconds as well. You can then combo this with poisoned weapons to shackle enemies, which we can't do here. And right now, this is like some of our basic combos. This isn't the big damage that you'll see in a moment. Let me just finish this archer off. We then have Backdraft, and this is one of your big boy abilities. This is the one that's going to do a lot of damage. So, this fires an explosive shell, dealing 2,661 range damage. Again, this is going to scale with your weapon and your stats. But, this does damage in a cone-shaped area and pushes you backwards. And then it also afflicts silence on enemies too. This combos with Vicious Implosion, and it inflicts silence for 3 seconds if you have 30 stacks of adrenaline. So let me show this one off. We'll combo all our abilities together and I'll finish it off. It's a nice finishing move, so... Never mind, it missed. Hold on, let me try that again. Alright, let's show this off. So we're going to start up with the Corrosion, use our standard ability, and then we'll walk up. And there's the Backdraft, which does a lot of damage and knocks you back. It is very cool. It's very good for farming multiple enemies at once. So that is that. Alright, and then we have Splinter Cell, which you have to be pretty close for all of these abilities, but this one deals range damage to an enemy, as well as to friendly imprisons, flame barriers, healing circles, or shadow vortexes, which is interesting. It can also be used to cause range damage equal to 2% of a target's current health, in which case the bullet penetrates the target's physical defense and ignores toughness, but never causes critical damage, which is very interesting. And it also stuns slowed targets, so you get a lot of CC options here when it comes to combos. So let's go ahead and show this one off. I'll actually open up with this one, so you can see. This is just like a grenade you throw out. I'll finish this guy off. Alright. Alright, and next up we have Blight Bolt. And this does 159% ranged attack. I'm actually just going to read the percentile from now on because that makes a lot more sense. And this afflicts Blight on enemies that you've hit with your Corrosion for 10 seconds. And then blighted enemies will spread that to other nearby enemies, so if they're within 3 meters, which increases their cast time by 20% and decreases their received healing by 50%. So this would mess up casters quite a bit. But it can also be used on a raid member without Corrosion, afflicting them with Blight for 7 seconds. So it's a little less, but it also does that. And it also deals 50% more damage to targets under the effect of Corrosion. So let's show that off now. We'll open up with a Corrosion, follow up with our Blight Bolt, and you can see we got some big damage. I've now aggroed this as well. Okay, cool. Alright, and next up, this is going to be the ability you use quite a lot. It's Room Sweeper. So if you have 1 to 59 stacks of adrenaline, it will guarantee that the next ranged attack within 30 seconds is a critical hit, and it only has a 5-second cooldown. But once you get 60 stacks, it triggers Showdown, which, as we said earlier, decreases the cooldown on your skills by 60%. So you can keep using this every 2 seconds while adrenaline is active. So let me go ahead and get some stacks and I'll show this off now. Alright, and as you can see, we now have our 60 stacks. So now when I pop Room Sweeper, we have this happen, which is very cool. And now we're going to do a lot more damage, but what you can do is you can just keep pressing Room Sweeper and it will keep refreshing the adrenaline, so you can keep your Showdown ability up for quite a while, but it will burn through mana very quickly, so you do need to be aware of that. But in this form you do a ton of damage, and it also looks kind of cool. You are just like on fire, so that's pretty neat. So Showdown is pretty cool. Combined with some of the other abilities as well, you can do quite a lot with that. So I'm going to be interested to see how well Gunslinger does. But yeah, next up we have Vicious Rebuke, which is actually really hard to get off. It does 355% damage, so it does a lot of damage, and it is a guaranteed hit. The skill will never miss. But to actually activate it, you need to suffer critical damage, and then for 2 seconds you have a moment to activate it and retaliate. Now it's I'm gonna see if I can get some footage of this, but it's gonna be hard to do it on these mobs here, I think. Alright, so I actually had to do a duel here for this one, so thanks to Hergio for stepping in. But as you can see, it does a fair amount of damage considering I've only got 352 range damage. So this combined with Showdown to reduce your cooldown, this would be on a super low cooldown, and you can keep shooting this out, and it's like just hitting people with precision strike over and over again in PvP, which this thing's gonna hit hard if you actually have ranged. So yeah, that's Vicious Rebuke. Alright, next up we have Tactical Roll. Now, this one I think would be really good if you have low ping, but I'm not sure. So, this is Tactical Roll. You can roll in any direction. And what it does is it gives you immunity to stun, trip, impale, fear, sleep, snare, slow, all the CC pretty much for 0.5 seconds. So, your timing on this would have to be very good, which is why I say ping is probably something you'd probably want really good ping for this. And if you suffer an attack while performing the roll, it gives you 8 stacks of adrenaline, but it can't be stacked if Showdown's up, and it can't be used again for 1.5 seconds. Alright, so as you can see, we have 35 stacks right now. And when we take a hit during that roll, we get a bunch more stacks. Again, I think if you had good ping, that'd be a really nice ability. It is a super low cooldown, and when you have your stacks up, so if I pop Showdown, it's actually only a 3-second cooldown, so it's pretty neat, but again, I don't know how useful it's gonna actually be. This is gonna be one of those things where we have to see it in action a bit more. Alright, so next up we have Trigger Happy. This is 109% ranged attack, and it fires multiple shots from left to right, dealing range damage, and equipping a rifle allows you to hit 30 enemies up to 3 times, which, I don't know why it says 30 enemies. I guess there must be a limit on it, but I don't know why when you'd be hitting, I guess, Halcyona maybe. But, yeah, this one will stun feared targets, and blighted enemies suffer 5% more damage. So, let's go ahead and try and combo this together. I'll actually start off by using it so you guys can see. Alright, let's try from 16 meters. Okay, so you've got to be at least 15 meters in range for Trigger Happy to go off. A lot of these abilities seem to be within 20 to 10 meters. Yeah, like Ceaseless Fire is 15 meters, so a good way of determining whether it's going to hit or not is, apart from the meter indicator next to the mob, is if you can actually use Ceaseless Fire or not. So this should hit. There we go. There we go. Just smack them with the combo. That is a lot of fun to use, I'm not going to lie. Alright, next up we have Reversal, which is basically just reverse leech. Instead of stealing buffs, you give them debuffs. So let me find one of the... Is it the archers that freeze you up? It's these guys, or is it the reserves? I think it might be the reserves, actually. I'm gonna hit this archer here, and then he should hit me with a freeze. And when he does that, I just reverse it on him, and then he's frozen. So you can do that with pretty much all the debuffs, which is also very nice. I feel like there's a lot of ways that could be used or abused, so I'm trying to think in dungeons where that might be applicable as well, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll figure more out as we go. Alright, so next we have Sniper's Bane, which inflicts Bane on the target.
Ah, yes, Sniper's Bane, yes. Ah, it inflicts Bane on the target.
I need to be stopped. Okay. Okay. So, Sniper's Bane inflicts Bane on the target, increasing their received damage by 7% and decreasing their accuracy by 10% for 15 seconds, which is pretty big. It triggers Morpheus' favor if the target dies while under the effects of Bane, and Morpheus' favor resets the cooldown of Sniper's Bane. It decreases the cooldown of Gunslinger skills by 10% and increases the damage of Gunslinger skills by 10%. So this is a really good thing to keep popping. And I'll go show this off now, but it's also very strong. Let's find a suitable target. Right, so let's hit this guy over here. He's gonna knock us down, that's fine. And there we go, we've now got Morpheus' favor. Cooldown is reset. And we can just keep doing that. Cooldown's reset again. Pop it again. If you combo this with like Showdown as well, you're gonna be doing a lot. We'll just say that. Alright, last but not least we have collateral damage. Now this one fires an explosive shell that deals some range damage and inflicts slow on the initial target. It'll decrease their move speed by 10% for 3 seconds. The shell then explodes and deals damage equal to 15% of each target's health to up to 20 enemies within a 5-meter radius, and decreases their move speed by 80% for 3 seconds. The explosion also penetrates the target's physical defense and ignores toughness, but it'll never crit. So this is pretty strong. And if the target is a world boss, the bullet explosion deals double the initial damage. It also impales victims of Curse Seeds. It fears snared targets for 2 seconds. It removes Shadow Cloak from enemies if the caster has 30 plus stacks of Adrenaline as well. So that makes Shadow Cloak useless. But it also deals 27% additional damage to bleeding targets as well. Now I don't believe you have a bleed in Gunslinger, but also pretty useful. This one might be difficult to get off because it's hard to really tell where the shell actually explodes. So let me show this off now. There we go. So if they move out of range of it before it explodes, I don't think they take the full extent of damage. But it is an interesting one. And it's very cool. Yeah, this one is very cool and probably... I can see Gunslinger just being very good in group PvP. That's the impression I'm getting. In like big battles in Halcyon, if you just throw in a bunch of abilities, you're bound to do something, honestly. Especially with stuff that ignores toughness. But yeah, that is it for the Gunslinger. It actually doesn't have any ancestral abilities yet. Much like the Swiftblade doesn't have that many, and Malediction doesn't have that many compared to the rest of the classes. I'm sure they will come in eventually, though Gunslinger seems like it'll do pretty well on its own until then anyway. But we'll see. You guys let me know what you think of Gunslinger. I'm gonna play around with this a lot more probably on the stream, and we'll try and figure out some more stuff that we can do with the Gunslinger set. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Join the Discord as well. We have a lot of Archeage discussion in there, and then we also have the Twitch if you want to check that out. It's mostly just me either doing my daily stuff or experimenting, so that's all you'll see over there. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll maybe get back to you guys when I've got a bit more on the Gunslinger as well. Maybe see if we can abuse the reversal in some dungeons or something. I'm trying to think of a good example, but I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.